Hello there, and welcome to a fireside reading of the original Sherlock Holmes adventure, A Study in Scarlet, by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle. This book was originally written in installments and appeared in Beeton's Christmas Annual. That was in 1887. Since then, there have been numerous books, movies and television shows and plays and radio plays, and now his very first fireside reading. Sherlock Holmes has become one of the most famous characters in history. So famous, in fact, that it sometimes seems that he might have been real rather than fictional. And I think the reason for this is the way these books were so wonderfully written as reminiscences of the lovely Dr. Watson. And it is in this book, A Study in Scarlet, that Watson introduces the world to Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Fireside reading is a whole new way to look at books. When I was very young, my father sat me in front of the fire and he read this book to me. And ever afterwards, Holmes and Watson were huge favorites of ours. So much so that when my father was really quite old, I returned to England to visit him and asked him what he'd like to do. And he suggested that I read this book back to him, which I did. This book holds a very dear place in my heart, and I hope that after you've watched and listened along with me, it will hold a dear place in your heart too. Please enjoy this fireside reading of A Study in Scarlet by Arthur Conan Doyle. Part 1. Being a reprint from the reminiscences of John H. Watson, M.D., late of the Army Medical Department. Chapter 1. Mr. Sherlock Holmes. In the year 1878, I took my degree of Doctor of Medicine at the University of London and proceeded to Netley to go through the course prescribed for surgeons in the Army. Having completed my studies there, I was duly attached to the 5th Northumberland Fusiliers as assistant surgeon. The regiment was stationed in India at the time, and before I could join it, the Second Afghan War had broken out. On landing at Bombay, I learned that my corps had advanced through the passes and was already deep in the enemy's country. I followed, however, with many other officers who were in the same situation as myself, and succeeded in reaching Kandahar in safety, where I found my regiment and at once entered upon my new duties. The campaign brought honours and promotion to many, but for me it had nothing but misfortune and disaster. I was removed from my brigade and attached to the Berkshires, with whom I served at the fatal Battle of Maiwand. There, I was struck on the shoulder by a Jezzail bullet which shattered the bone and grazed the subclavian artery. I should have fallen into the hands of the murderous Ghazis had it not been for the devotion and courage shown by Murray, my orderly, who threw me across a pack horse and succeeded in bringing me safely to the British lines.